Save us, Hulu, save us! That's what Disney, Bob Iger, Dana Walden, and the rest are all shouting to the streaming service that cost them something like $30 billion. Disney Plus now waning, draining, and diving out of the consciousness of so many Americans, but Hulu is taking over. Is it worth it, though? Did they make a good decision buying the streaming service they are very intent on intertwining with Disney Plus? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yes, we can still say that, and we do. Gendered language, well, we've got a few. Today we're talking about Hulu, which is dominating some of the subcategories of streaming. It comes with a super hefty price tag, however, as well as its inclusion of Fox shows, which drives the price even higher. Should investors be happy that Disney spent all that money, or should they worry that Bob Iger is employing the strategy that stinks up so much of the stuff he's bought up in the past? Click the like button. Panel, it's time. That the Bob Iger strategy continues apace, but it is pacing out Disney's bank accounts. Here's what we've got. Going to Nielsen, I want to show you a phenomenon that's happening. If we take a look at the overall top 10 for Nielsen for September 9th through September 15th, what do we see? We see one lone Disney Plus show, and it's not a Disney show, but it's on Disney Plus, and it's Bluey, as we always anticipate. Bluey is basically the hottest show there is, and it's about preschool dogs. But that is what it is. But something fascinating is happening all throughout streaming. Something new, something incredible, something that points to the Bob Iger strategy of buy, buy, buy. And then over the years after he buys, he says goodbye, bye-bye to the talent. Let's take a look. If we go to originals.
Or Backstreet Boys, whichever one. That
Who was it? That's just got to be NSYNC, right?
Bye, bye, bye was NSYNC, yes.
Yeah.
So take a look at how many of the Hulu shows are now showing up. Remember that Nielsen has been dominated as of late by Netflix and on occasion Amazon Prime. And we won't get into Rings of Power right now, but let's just say that it's not living up to its ROI. But we've got Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu. We've got Only Murders in the Building, Hulu. We've got Futurama, Hulu. It's going to get more. Ready? Acquired. Now remember, original would be that Hulu actually originated those shows. When it comes to acquired, that means picked up through Fox or some other entity. Take a look at this. Bluey from Disney Plus. Family Guy from Hulu. Remember that Disney owns Hulu. We'll talk about that in a moment. Bob's Burgers from Hulu. Grey's Anatomy, Hulu. Prison Break, Hulu. Going down 2 more spaces. Law & Order Special Victims Unit, Hulu. Criminal Minds, Hulu. Everybody seeing this now? If we go to movies, it's dominated by Netflix, Max, Paramount Plus, no Disney, right? Hey, good job, Sonic. No Disney on the movies, which is amazing.
Look at that. Edge of Tomorrow, 2014. Still doing strong. Fantastic.
I love Edge of Tomorrow. I wish we'd get a sequel. So if we go to acquired, though, let's stay on this, okay? Disney, the company, is dominating streaming through acquired properties. But these properties are not owned by Disney, except that Disney bought them. So in order for Disney to get into the streaming charts, they had to buy a service, that's Hulu, and they had to buy a company, that's Fox, to put the Fox stuff on Hulu. And that is how Disney has managed to be relevant, not through their own stuff. The Disney stuff isn't showing up. Disney is buying Bluey. But in that case, they can only afford the licensing rights. They're buying Bob's Burgers. They're buying Futurama. They're buying all of this stuff. But the Disney stuff is not there. You don't see any Pixar on here. You don't see any Disney animation on here. It's just stuff that Disney is buying. And what do we know about Bob Iger and the way things go with these sorts of entities? If Bob Iger is allowed to get in there and change the way that these shows are made, then you'll see them drop off. How do I know that? There's no Simpsons. That sucker's got something like 600, 700, 800 episodes. How many episodes does it have? Does anybody know off the top of your head how many episodes? Somebody look that up real quick.
More than 750.
Somebody look it up. So it has every...
Maybe their number one performer. when they first released.
Exactly. And Simpsons should be up here because of the very fact it has so much content that people can watch.
770.
It's not. How did The Simpsons get knocked out of its spot of being relevant? Because Disney got in there and mucked it up. Remember the Apu story? Remember, you can't have actors play characters that aren't the exact same ethnicity of them. Remember all this stuff they've done to The Simpsons? They've neutered that show. It won't be long before they start doing this to these shows that they've got access to right now. And that's a problem. Disney is great at buying stuff. Bob Iger is great at spending $30 billion on Hulu. How much, Jonas, on Fox?
70 billion with an attempt at 110.
Okay, so we're at $100 billion. Was it worth it? Is it worth it to spend $100 billion to be able to own the acquired streaming charts? I don't know. What say you all?
If you follow the stock price, definitely not, because Disney is about how much they were before they bought Fox and absorbed Fox into itself. So,
which would be a net gain then, because they absorbed Fox and Fox did not merit out any kind of increase in the total overall value of the company.
Exactly.
So that's a decline.
I'll just say when we look at this and we look at the streaming charts, they've essentially said that, they bought Fox for the streaming content. 66% of the Fox pro forma assets were actually linear assets at this point. So when they say it's for streaming, I would love to see the breakdown of how much money they're actually making. Oh wait, there is a breakdown between Hulu and Disney Plus. They lost $19 million in the last quarter, and the only thing that brought them to quote unquote combined streaming profitability was probably a large amount of pay-per-view that was credited to ESPN Plus. So they're not making any money off of any of this as far as the streaming figures go at this point. They are only making money on the linear side here. So this right here is a bunch of them trying to convince everyone that they are making money when they definitely are not making money off of this. Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, that is part of the animation block that is on Fox. And Simpsons, I don't know who still watches The Simpsons. And as far as I can tell, I don't know where the syndication rights for The Simpsons ends up. But that's 770 episodes. That starts to get to the point where I wonder who other than Disney would want to pay the money to actually syndicate that show, since about 4 seasons is what you would actually want if you had a fan base that was interested in The Simpsons. Bluey obviously is this big outlier here. It is a very anti-current Disney kind of show. It is about a family, and a family that loves each other, tolerates each other, doesn't go into any political messaging whatsoever. And it's about imagination play. You notice there's nothing that is made by something that is under Bob Iger that is on this list. You might have a little bit of a carve out for Dana Walden here in the fact that she was over FX. Oh wait, that was actually Peter Rice who was in charge of all of that, and then he got walked out.
No, wait a minute though. We're being negative.
Oh,
sorry. We can at least say that whatever they spent, Hulu is dominating much of streaming. So there is that. Disney owns Hulu, and Hulu is dominating, and they've integrated Hulu into Disney Plus.
Go to the top 10. Go to the actual top 10. And who's dominating streaming?
Yeah, and before we do that, real quick, let me say it this way. You mentioned Simpsons. I need to talk about that for just a second. Simpsons is a massive failure right now. They're the latest gimmick that Disney tried to pull off to get people to re-engage with the show was to air the series finale as the season beginner. The series finale. You heard what I'm saying.
I hear you. And Culture, was that just as a joke, or are they really trying to?
No. It was definitely a joke. It was it was basically Bart's birthday. Like, he actually got to age.
Right. So South Park did it.
But you understand my point.
Exactly.
They try to use all these gimmicks to make people care, and nobody cares anymore.
My point here is, and I could be wrong about this, and I'm open to being wrong. Disney succeeded in dominating streaming. They're all over the place now in the charts with Hulu, but they did it at the cost of their flagship streaming platform, that's Disney Plus, and they did it at a cost of, gosh, way north of 30 billion, because this is what they bought Fox for, and Fox was 70 billion. So
Yeah.
you're depending on how you want to play this out, you could say anywhere between 30 and 100 billion dollars it cost them to do this. And I just, given what Jonas said, the stock is where it was before they bought Fox. It doesn't seem to me that it was worth the expense. Could be wrong, I don't know, but that's where I think this stands.
Jonas says a lot of very smart things. Fortunately, he's here on that Park Place and WDW Pro Show and that Game Place and many other places, including his own channel, maybe again someday. But I will say this: he's right. The Fox properties have been largely, treading water, and I don't see anything coming out of Fox. Fox is not being used as it should be for fodder to publish via syndication on other streaming channels. Somebody tell me I'm wrong, or tell
you're totally correct. Other than the compliments,
I'm
also going to point out that Rebel Ridge right there on Netflix. Our next Jon Stewart over there at DC is the star of Rebel Ridge. So if we're looking at who is influential and where they're actually looking for stars, they're no longer looking at Disney properties here. They're actually looking at Netflix. And the fact that Henry Cavill, he didn't get his, he got a little bit of star power from DC, but the influence that he has had has been, I'm going to say, from his Netflix shows and him appearing in things that matter to Gen Z with Enola Holmes and things like that. Netflix right now is the actual dominating cultural entity here, as opposed to Disney, which is in this weird spot where it's supposed to be grown-ups that are monitoring kids' content, but the kids aren't watching this. They're watching YouTube. And if you look at the next trends here in kids' content, it's YouTube and it's video games. So Disney has this zombie content of the stuff that is supposed to be appealing to children, but is actually appealing to 40-year-olds who want to be nostalgic, or 30-year-olds, whatever. This to me is just, it's a company that is on life support and pretending as though it is cognizant and is waiting for re-election.
So you've brought me back to earth. Let me show folks out there the reality of the situation. Disney Plus and Hulu combined are 5% of all viewing on televisions for streaming. YouTube is 10.6. YouTube doubles everything that Disney Plus and Hulu combined do. And YouTube does that for free, basically. So YouTube is not paying us to do the Pro Show right now with 800 of you watching. YouTube is not paying Side Scrollers. YouTube is not paying Valiant Renegade. YouTube is not paying Culture Casino, Midnight's Edge, The Trent Report, Follow the Bradley's Fun, etc. Disney and Hulu are spending what we talked about. It's like $100 billion. $100 billion to get 5% versus YouTube doubling it for nada. That's if you want to know what's going on with the stock, that's what's happening. And I don't anticipate that YouTube will be dropping any time soon. I only wish that Nielsen would track maybe YouTube stuff, because I wonder, despite the fact that Mr. Beast may be decreasing in popularity for obvious reasons, I wonder how shows such as that or those channels compare to some of these shows that are in the top 10, especially with subcategories. Not sure, but it's a curiosity of mine.
My argument would be some of these shows have better ratings overall and total viewership numbers that are on YouTube than anybody else. I mean, think about this: more people watch Critical Drinker in a given week than actually watch Joker 2.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You start to just compare this, across the board. It's like more people are watching you weekly, Pro, than watch all of the WNBA playoffs.
Well, let's use Agatha right now. The WNBA is up, and Agatha's a good. That's good, because
the reason I use the WNBA is because once Caitlyn Clark was no longer there, game over.
Well, can you believe that Staccato DS told me to cover that in a video? He sent me an email and said, "Hey, you need to be covering this." And I said, "You know what?
You do.
We'll try it out." It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I looked into this and did the research. And Disney and ESPN are furious about Caitlyn Clark. Apparently, it's the wildest thing.
Well, again, she was so mistreated this year. It's absolutely disgusting. It made me very angry.
Well, it's a regression, and it's bizarre culture because the NBA, they and we're a little bit sidetracked, but just to say, the NBA, they managed somehow when Larry Bird was arguably the best player on the court in the seasons that he was. They managed somehow when Dirk Nowitzki was the same. They managed somehow with Manu Ginobili being one of the most clutch players and being of European descent. It's amazing to me that the WNBA is such a regression in terms of handling racial issues. So, and yet again, folks, we have come to the end. But what a video it has been, and we hope you agree. Folks, if you had a good time with us, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. We care about your thoughts. Folks, we also want to invite you to partake in thatparkplace.com. Of course, www. You get the idea. Thatparkplace.com. It is the website telling the truth, and it is a rising star across the web for pop culture news coverage and analysis. Go over there and bookmark it today. Folks, we're bookmarking you as a great guest that we appreciate. Until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, folks, you better believe it, keep having fun.